Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Imagine a game. Yeah, we played that. Or just give us time. We'll play it eventually. Join me at sometime in November 1982. We were last in the United Kingdom, and now we're going to be going to Japan, at least for part of the episode. Let's see what our next game is. We're next going to play the Alchemist Laboratory on the TRS-80 color computer. I warn you, every video game tonight will shock and surprise you because we're in the realm of these games were released sometime in November 1982, so have fun with that. The Alchemist Laboratory is another game that all I got is an advertisement flyer. It is very, look at this, it's so simplistic. Color computer software, and it's only $15. Mix ingredients that'll turn lead into gold. This is real software company, not to be confused with fake software companies. And then we got a screenshot. That's about it. Let's pop it and play The Alchemist's Laboratory, released by somebody at sometime in November 1982. Who did this? We have no idea. It is basic, though. It should be Alchem. If we run it, let's do this. This is our 154th game we played on the TRS-80 color computer. I am expecting anything and everything at this point. It did? I bet it did. Alchemist Laboratory loads with minimal ominous music. This is the first and maybe only video game we're going to see by real software company. Since we have no idea who did this, is this a real software company at all? Like, do we even know if this is a real thing? You're in an alchemist lab in an old castle. There are shelves of chemicals, lead bars, and a mixing bowl. Two sets of shelves are covered with metal grills. By mixing chemicals from the first group, you open the grills, covering the other group of chemicals. When you have all three groups uncovered, you have to try to find the right combination that'll give you the Philosopher's Stone, a magic substance that can turn lead into gold. Good luck. Here's the chemicals. What's your first choice? Oh, let's try fairy tears. Do I type the whole thing? And, okay, it brought fairy tears down by 1. And let's mix fairy tears with gypsy blood. I just want your blood, gypsy. At least they show a nice little animation. Yes, that's exactly how I pictured us. Oh, OS error in 62. Great. Does that mean the whole thing crashed? The whole thing crashed. We just mixed potions and the whole thing blew up. Now, I've seen the screenshots of this game. You will get some random elements where things will come up and say you've exploded yourself, but I don't think it's supposed to crash like that. What genre of game would you call this? Is it a strategy game? Is it a puzzle game? I'm going to go with puzzle, but this is all random. You're just mixing things together. It's barely a game, too, if you want to think of it like that, because you're just picking random things. There isn't, and the whole game's random. It can decide when you're picking the right things or when you're not picking the right things. Oh, really? I need to type that before running? Clear 1000? Oh, maybe. Oh, really? Is that what I need to do? Okay, well, it's probably going to break again. If I do that... Oh, I have to type the whole thing. Let's do oil and gypsy blood and see what happens. It might be the very first time whoever this developer is messing around with BASIC. And the game's probably going to crash again. Yep, there it is. So clear 1000. And then run Alchem. Will it work now? Your magical witchcraft, Curtis, might save the Alchemist Laboratory. For all the Alchemist Laboratory fans out there. Alright, so yeah, that's a good point. You could call it biorhythm. Oh, it could be. Okay, so maybe it won't save it, but we'll see what happens. But this is the entire game. All you're doing is selecting by typing in what chemicals you want to mix together, and then see if you lose your head, transform into a lizard. Who knows what's going to happen? It's all random. All right, maybe it didn't like fairy tears. And let's do giant sweat. Did it not? It did. It understood giant squirt. And witch oil. Let's see. It'll go through the whole animation again. It should be. We haven't made any changes to the memory on this system since the beginning, unless this is using an exorbitant amount of memory. Oh, it crashed again. Well, there you go. Our taste of the Alchemist laboratory burned in a dumpster fire, which means I got to give it a 0-star rating. It didn't respond the way it's supposed to, but to tell you the truth, you're just going to mix the chemicals, and then it's going to tell you if you pick the right ones. Like it's all random. So we did experience the game. We just didn't get the outcome. They didn't tell us if we did it right or mixed them the right way. Yeah, right. So I want to say, for my experience, I'm going to go ahead and call it broken. I won't call it... We got it to run, and it loaded, and we got the idea, but it's barely a game anyway. Yeah, right? Mini game is a great way to describe it. So I'll still say, for our experience, I'll do half star. I'll rate it something. We know what the outcome's supposed to be. It just didn't do it for us this time. Yikes. Yeah, right? Yeah, and it's not worth figuring out. You bet, Curtis. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. Oh, by the way, before we go, this is the very first video game we've ever played that has anything to do with alchemy. So it's a terrible start, but there you go. The very first game with alchemy so far. Here's our next game. Oh, man. Our next game is Aldebaran. There is so much explanation that needs to happen with this game. This is our game in Japan. We're going to go to the Sharp MZ line of home computers. Wow, oh wow. Well, first of all, let's start with where you can find any information about this. I'll go to the box, or the box that I was able to find on the dark web. This was originally... The point is, when you go on a channel like this and you start telling everybody, tell me which video games I forgot, that's a terrible idea to do with the internet, because the internet will slap you back in the face with a bunch of stuff, and they did. There's someone that left me a comment about all the games we left off in Japan, and so I went down digging. I went through several video game rabbit holes. Oh my goodness, there's so many games on Japanese home computers that are not documented anywhere, and you have to go through Japanese magazines and text to find stuff. This is one of those games, and it really makes me kind of sad too, because this is Hudson Soft. You can see it blazoned on this box. This is a later box, the MZ1200, but Hudson Soft gets such a bad rap. I'm very familiar with the company and what they're going to end up doing. I mean, look, the Hudson B is here in 1982, but if you look up Hudson Soft right now, if you just Google it, I dare you, what is the very first Hudson Soft video game? They might give you 1 or 2 games from 1982, but most likely you're going to see stuff from 1983. That is not the case. Hudson Soft has been making games since 1980, and there is so many games that they've done, and not just this company. There's other companies in Japan that have done a lot of stuff, but I just feel so bad that this company, Hudson Soft, no one really has this stuff documented, at least in English-speaking countries. All right, so this is Aldebaran. Now, the very first time you would have seen this was not actually this box. I just got some screenshots of something that I could find of Aldebaran. Yeah, that's right. They did the TurboGrafx 16, or the PC engine, NEC PC engine is what they did in Japan. Yeah, and Bomberman, there's so many games that this company did. So what I'm showing you is most likely what you saw around 1982 this time, but that's not where this game comes from. This is the back of the cassette. This is where this game comes from. This is a magazine called MyCom, and this is the January 1980 issue. In this magazine, if you flip to the right page, yeah, that's right, 1980, you get Aldebaran. And I don't know if you can see the game itself. It says Hudson Soft down on the bottom left. Hudson Soft made a type-in video game for this magazine in 1980 in Japan. Now, at this point, they had some of the lower-end computers that we've already seen on the show. Most of the time, like the Fujitsu FM8 and the Sharp systems. We've been playing the later ones because we were able to get them to run. But there's older games that were like business computers that people were making games for. This is the first time you ever would have seen this game. So I don't know if I'm going to call this the type-in game that came out originally in 1980, or when it was first released on cassette, because I think 1982 was when they first released it on cassette. But this is the first time you could have seen this game. And the first time you ever saw this, I have gameplay footage of Aldebaran. And this is running on the Sharp MZ80B. This is someone else that's running this for us from another YouTube channel. I'm going to include links down below. But this is what you would have seen, or the experience of Aldebaran the very first time, at least on cassette. It's very close to what we saw for the type-in version 2. If you even look down below in the magazine, they say Hudson Soft, and this is what the game looks like. Yes, look at this. That's right, Manly. Every Star Wars reference, bring it on. So here's the gameplay of Aldebaran, or what the game is like. Now, the purpose of the whole game is, if we go all the way back, this was sold by Hudson Soft a very long time ago. The game involves, you're controlling a robot called Beta 2, and you're supposed to rescue researchers from a laboratory where bacteria has spread. Finally sealing off the laboratory, isolating it before the bacteria spreads to the whole stage. And this was a hit game by Hudson Soft, at least the type-in was. And so the popularity of what it was in magazines started to spread, and other computers started to use it, and eventually they released it on cassette. So this one is the first time you ever could have played it. The reason I wanted to cover this game, or why I dug so deep, is one, it's Hudson Soft, but two, this game is a block pushing puzzle. You can see them moving around. They're pushing people around, and they're using them very similar to Sokoban. But to my knowledge, we're not going to see Sokoban until around December 1982. So we haven't seen it yet here on the show. But this was already existing. There already was a block pushing puzzle. You just weren't pushing blocks. You're pushing people to get them to go into a quarantined area. Yeah, right? Oh, yeah, right? Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. Your character doesn't even look like a person, but you're moving what appears to be people all around. So this was released on lots of other computers. Like, I have a gameplay footage, too, of another person that's playing Aldebaran on another computer, the Panasonic computer in Japan. So this is like the span from 1980 until where we are now. I'm like going back in the past to cover a video game that apparently we should have seen, but you got to admit, we're not going to be able to play every single type-in video game here on Chronologically Gaming. So this is, again, gameplay of someone playing on another Japanese home computer of Aldebaran. And it was released, I'm pretty sure, on all these systems, but good luck finding any information on databases about this in English. It's like the history of Hudson Soft before 1982 doesn't exist. But here you go. This is Chronologically Gaming. We're going to play too many video games here, or at least show them. So this is just video footage, so I'm going to include links down below for this video. It's the same idea, just a little bit of a color for this system. You can see it loading up. The characters, it still looks like the character we're playing at is a robot. You're supposed to be moving around because it's a quarantine zone, and there's human bodies you're trying to save before the bacteria spread. So you're just shuffling and moving those bodies around. That's why you're represented by like the green alien that's on the screen here. All right, which takes us back to where we were when we were reading a magazine from 1980s. But the first box I was able to find, this one is the Sharp MZ80K, and there's the cassette tape that we're going to be playing, because it is BASIC, or programmed in BASIC. Oh man, the rabbit hole goes deep. So how are we going to play the game? Oh, we have the game. I found a release of this game. This was, oh yeah, there it is. The Panasonic JR200 was what we were seeing before. It is also available on the Fujitsu FM8. And then as far as Hudson Soft goes, we've seen Hudson Soft already do a game called Reverse. And so I thought that was the first Hudson Soft game, and it just keeps going further and further back in time. Maybe there's Hudson Soft games from the 70s. If you dig deep enough, maybe you'll find some. But we are going to play Aldebaran. I found it, but not quite exactly what you thought. This one is Aldebaran for the Sharp MZ700 that you probably would have played about this time. Ready, set, let's load the state, and let's run and play Aldebaran. But you're like, wait a second, this isn't Aldebaran. I found that I had a video game called Lay Hope Institute. Lay Hope Institute is Aldebaran. It's just one of the later versions of it that you would have played about right now. So here we go. Let's play some Aldebaran. at least part 1 of Aldebaran. The game begins with lots of information telling you what you are. You know, you're the robot trying to save everybody from the bacteria outbreak. And just remember what all the instructions. Yeah, we're going through the instructions here. We'll skip through that part there. All right, so now it's going to explain a little bit more story and lore. This is only the 16th game we've seen on the Sharp MZ line of home computers. And for Hudson Soft, it's only the 3rd game we've seen so far, but apparently there might be even more. Here's all the controls. Just follow these steps. 1, 2, 3. It's really simple premise because you're just moving the cursor keys around. You just have to move around and shift the people in different areas. All right, now we're in. It's going to load up the level for us. And we'll get to play as the bar stool, I think, is what someone described in the chat. So I'm amazed this was the same even though it was called a different title. But I learned that it was remade or called something different than the original. But it's still Aldebaran. All right, so as we load in, you can see the bodies there. The timer's ticking at the top. I'm going to get my cursor keys and just make my way to the side over here. Just get the feel of how it works. Because it's actually interesting because when we see Sokoban for the first time, it's just going to be very simple. You're just going to be pushing blocks to a certain place. This one has story. This is like lore. You know, we're moving people to different places. All right, so this one's, I don't know what the white person means, but I'm going to put the white person there, and then I'm going to move some of the cyan people to a different spot. Controls are very simple. The cursor keys for the Sharp MZ700 works really well. There's a picture of the Sharp MZ computer of where we were on the last screen. So you're just moving them to different places, and you have a timer that's ticking at the top. See, the timer is showing us the percentage of what's left. We have to rush and hurry and get people to a safe zone and block them away before the bacteria completely spreads. I don't know. I think it's just whenever you move them. It's letting you know which people. I think the color is if they've stopped, because notice they're blue or cyan originally, and then they eventually change the color to a different place there. Yeah, once you go past, so you're like getting them out. This is the quarantined area, and once they leave the quarantine area, then they're safe. So I just have to get everyone out of the. Yeah, I'm just pushing and moving them so they're not blue. Oh, you can see it's starting to spread, right? That's right. We have to get them out of the room, so we're pushing them out. And I think this premise is even cooler than Sokoban. I was already going to be impressed when we first see the traditional block pushing video game at some time in December 1982. But look at this. This is even more high tech than that. It's really cool too. I don't think I can do. Yep. See, you got to get them out of the room, and if you don't, see how they're still. I think if they're still blue, that's not going to count. So let's see. I'll try to push this one in a different spot, but you can see the bacteria spreading in the center. Yep. Oh, I think I busted. Can I? I don't think I can push it. No, you can't go through that because you have people to. Oh, that's right. I'll get into this room, and that's okay. That's the safe mode here. But oh, it's yellow. I don't know what the yellow means. Yeah, the meter at the top is going. You see, it's 30%, and you can see the center of the room has lots of colors that have lit up. That means we're running out of time. We got to save everybody. And there's 3 people in the bottom corner. I don't know if I'm going to get to them. Okay, it looks like maybe there's 3 levels of quarantine. Blue means these people are going to die if they stay there. But if I can get these the white people and everyone in the blue in this room, then yellow will be quarantined. What a cool idea! I can understand how this was something from you play a type-in game and it turns into something much bigger. It's awesome though. So this was for the Fujitsu FM8 that we saw, and we're going to be checking that out. We already saw that one on that home computer. I don't think I have enough time. 40% maybe. Let's try it if we can. Wait, if I go down here though, no, I don't think that's going to work. Yeah. See, but I don't know the difference. If I make the player white, does that mean they're going to be safe, or is yellow we're going to be safe in the room? And then do I need to use a block? Oh, but look, it's spreading. It's getting wider. The middle of the screen is expanding. There we go. One more in here. I don't know what's going to happen to the one at the bottom, if he's going to be safe or not. And notice that I changed... Oh, wait, we do have blocks over on this side. I thought that was just the design of the level. So let's seal them in and see if this works for this area. Or maybe we have to save a certain amount of people that are sealed in. There we go. Nice. So it gives you kind of an intensity because you have a time limit to finish all this. What I'd love to know is I haven't played enough of the game to see if there's other levels. You know, is this the only level that you just try to play over and over again and get faster and faster? Or is there other screens, other places where the bacteria is spread? Yeah, those other two people, yeah, they're going to die in the bottom left corner. But really cool premise. You notice I'm just pushing them around. I'm trying to seal off the room, but I don't... Let's see if we can go in and save this one last guy. I don't think we can. We'll do the Sokoban trick. Here. Yeah, there we go. What's also interesting is notice that they turn red right before they leave the room, almost like you can use a body to seal the room. That'd be a cool idea. But you get the idea. It is really, really interesting, very, very unique. And we'll go ahead and stop there. I just did a loading a save state to play this game because just like on the Sharp MZ, you have to load basic, wait for that to come up. Then you have to load the game and come up. So that is Aldebaran, the first part. Now, that game you saw me play would have come out sometime around this time in November 1982. But the history behind this one is even farther than that. Up to this point, block pushing games, Pingo is the only one in the arcade that we've seen so far that has been really fun. Sokoban does not exist. This one beat it to the punch, at least to my knowledge, unless someone can say there's a type-in Sokoban on Japanese computers. I know, and the lore is so fun too, right? Yeah, the way it was spreading in the middle was kind of like Conway's Game of Life, right? All right, so yeah, this is not all, though. I would say because we got the chance to play this one, this is big. This is a really cool idea and concept. Yeah, I'm with you there, too. Lots of 4s coming out there. I don't know if I can go as high as saying one of the best games across all home computers, but this is, I heard, was Hudson Soft's hit. And I'm going to concede and say 4 stars for Aldebaran Part 1. But that's not it. Around this time, the next game was Aldebaran Part 2, or Aldebaran Number 2, depending on where you are. This one's even harder to come by or find compared to Aldebaran Part 1. So for this one, I just have a Panasonic JR200 cassette of Aldebaran 2, and then some extremely blurry cassettes for Aldebaran Part 2. But that's it, with an example of a screenshot. That's all it is. And this one has 2 different game modes, so all I'm going to be able to do for this is show you, once again, some gameplay footage of someone playing Aldebaran Part 2 on the Sharp MZ80B. Again, that business computer. So I'm going to include links down below for this game of someone playing the game. It's just extremely hard to come by. This is the sequel to Aldebaran. It was sold by Hudson at the time when everything was called the microcomputers. It's a bigger game than the first one. It has instruction. In the first one, you go searching for something, or this first part, you go searching for something called REV, which is used to remove the bacteria, and you defeat enemies. You notice how it's like moving a crosshair around to defeat enemies, and at the end, you'll find a warp point and then come back. And then you go to the next screen, and I believe the next screen plays kind of like the first Aldebaran, but you can see how different this is. It's a very different premise. It really doesn't play exactly like the first Aldebaran. Hudson Soft was trying to do something completely different for this one, but still a big hit as far as this goes. And there was talk about a Part 3, Aldebaran Number 3, but it was planned to be released and never came out. So that one's another vaporware, or it never existed. Maybe there's some databases of Hudson Soft that played it at some point. But anyway, this is just some gameplay of what Aldebaran Part 2 was like to play. If you can get it to me, we'll play it. But in the meantime, I sadly got to say, Aldebaran Number 2, I got to give you a 0 star because we didn't get a chance to play any of it. And when this one was released, I have no idea. It may have been because it was ported to all Japanese home computers. It's possible in November 1982, one of those computers had the game. Yeah, right? I know it would have been great if someone made it on that computer too, but it was only in Japan. This never got out. Well, I know maybe later some people are going to have some ports on other systems, but it's going to take a very long time, and it's deep. It's a very deep cut. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. We're next going to the Atari home computer. We're leaving Japan. We're going back to the United States, and this is Alien Garden. Let's check it out. This one is only on the Atari home computer. It is the 401st game we've played for the Atari 400 and Atari 800. The art style is very modern and strange, kind of like the game. It's 3D polygonal, flat shaded polygon graphics for the front, right? Yeah, get ready, Marshall. This one is by Epix. And it's all Epix, either Epix or Automated Simulations. This is the 41st game we've seen by this company. They're out there, very prolific, done a lot of stuff already. Alien Garden is a fascinating experience that combines quick action and thought-provoking, memory-challenging strategy. Strategy and action determine your score and your survival in this alien world of thriving crystal flowers. Are you confused yet? Let's go on. It says it's for ages 10 to adult, and it requires the joystick controller. We got the rule book, and I think we might need it, but besides the box, do we have anything else for Alien Garden? There's the ad you would have seen, and we've already seen Platter Mania and Monster Maze. This is Epix. Computer games thinkers play, like Platter Mania and Monster Maze. You can see that it started to do thinking games, and then they just went off the rails. This is the cartridge for Alien Garden that we're going to pop into our Atari with an example of the screenshot. Here's the manual. Oh man, be sure to read this one. This is by Bernie DeCoven. Way to go, Bernie. And Jaron Lanier. This is the 6th game we've seen by Bernie. And Jaron, I think it's the 2nd game? There's another person that did this, Robert. There he is. Yeah, this is the 2nd game we've seen by Robert Leyland. All right, so how do we play this? You are the cosmic critter. You have a mouth, 2 wings, and a stinger. You can move in any direction using the joystick. If you want to change the way you're pointing, push down the red button and push the joystick in the direction you want your head to face. If your head faces straight up, your wings tuck in. Don't worry, they'll reappear. When you're frightened, you'll turn into a bubble. You cannot do anything to a flower while you're in a tucked-in state. The world is full of beautiful crystal flowers that all look alike. They have colors and shapes. You try bumping into a first-generation flower with your stinger, and the flower will react in different ways. It'll either grow, explode, or change. Try bumping into flowers with your wings, and it will react in one of the ways listed above, but not the same way as your stinger. Finally, try touching a flower with your mouth. The flower will react by exploding, changing, or pieces of the flower will disappear. You ate them. You cannot grow a flower with your mouth. What the heck is it talking about? Does anyone understand what in the world is going on? That's right, the Jaron. First generation flower shows you what happens. Second generation and third generation flower are what you should do. The world scrolls up and down. The scoring's like this. How do you lose your wing, stinger, or head? How do you get lost? And when you start again, and then the fine points of Alien Garden. Study this, read this, and be ever more confused by this game. We're going to be playing with our Atari VCS joystick plugged into the Atari computer the way it's supposed to be, and it explains the different keys there. There it is. Welcome to Alien Garden. It shows you how to move the critter around and how you're supposed to play the game and how you're supposed to respond to the game. All of these screenshots are not helpful because I've read and studied this manual and I still have no idea what in the world is going on. But that's it. That's the manual. You can read it at your leisure. Let's pop it and play Alien Garden. This is by Epix at sometime in November 1982. We saw this advertised when we were reading Computer Gaming World. That's right, Marshall. They probably were so high. Oh my gosh. All right, so this one is a randomly generated game. It does have controls that allow you to move this cosmic critter all around. And it uses procedure generation that someone mentioned in the chat. It kind of reminds me of the Game of Life that came out in the 70s on mainframe computers. The way that it's building and growing parts to it. It's crazy weird, though. All right, great. We got the idea. You see, Epix is doing some kind of opening intro. I'm going to just fast forward through there. All right, we're in. I am the Cosmic Critter. And when the game begins, it's auto-scrolling like this. It's just automatically scrolling itself. So the one of the first things is this game is moving freely. I have absolute control to move the Cosmic Critter around. And it's just continuing to scroll. Oh, now it just decided to scroll up by itself. I didn't do that. So this game is the very first video game we've ever played that's simultaneously auto-scrolling, but it's also 2D scrolling. So it's an auto-scrolling, but I have the ability to scroll the screen if I want to. When you come across one of the crystals, did I already die? I did. The Cosmic Critter is already dead. This almost makes me feel of when we played the Alchemist Laboratory. The whole game's random and you don't know what's going to happen until you just try things. This game is the same way. You are just randomly trying things on these crystals. Look, the crystals are rebuilding themselves slowly right now. Wow, yes. Come on, do the thing. And then we're back in just like that. So I have the ability to change my position of the Cosmic Critter by holding down the red button and move around. And then I decide, okay, let's get our stinger to touch this one. What's going to happen? It's all random. Okay, that happened. Great. All right, let's get our wings to touch this one. And that happens. And then touch our wing to this one. Anything? And that's all the game is. It is, by all accounts, the strangest, weirdest game we've ever played thus far. Okay, great. I think of it like a very early Evo Search for Eden, which is way later, where you're an evolving creature. Because you are supposed to, I don't think you're supposed to change. I think you're supposed to be able to see if you're able to eat the right foods. Uh-oh. Oh, and we died. Our heart is broken. It's all random, though. You have no idea. Oh my gosh. This is so trippy. Please take your acid tab right now to enjoy the full experience of Alien Garden. And it's going to do the same thing. It's rebuilding the level as whenever you die. It's like you just have to sit and wait for life to happen again. Life will find a way. I'm going to call this our very first biological simulator because you're supposed to be simulating a biological life form, a strange alien insect kind of creature. And it's sort of like strategy, but again, it's random. So there's not much strategy to this. It's just very weird. It is the weirdest thing and so abstract. I think that we've come to the point we played so many video games that the video games are starting to be more creative than, or not creative, just do anything and everything. How is this pitched to Epix? I mean, Epix has done some amazing games for computer games. How do you tell Epix I want to make this game and actually, I don't know. I really love to know the process behind this one. All right, there you go. I'll leave you with that. Hopefully you're still high and can enjoy the rest of the show. But Alien Garden is a bizarre one. I'm dying to see what the chat says for ratings on this. As usual, the rating system is based on if the game is broken, you rate it somewhere around this range. If the game is bad, you rate it somewhere around this range. If the game is average for all the games you could play on all home computers right now, it's somewhere on the 3-star range. If this is above average or excellent, you think it's a 4-star game. And if it's one of the best games you could play on all home computers, it's about here in the 5-star range. I already see a 2.5-star. That is so generous. I don't know. It's so crazy weird. Yeah, I know. The concept is original. If it had more ways like the creature to evolve or change or show you something, but all it is you just moving around touching crystals. Yeah, right? It's such a weird idea. I'm going to say bad. It's not broken. It's doing something. So it's not, I'm not going to say 1 star, but it's either a 1.5 or 2 for me because there's, I can't, right? I have no idea as well. I can't recommend the game. You could try it for yourself, but I didn't send you. All right, so I'm gonna go with 1.5. It is bad because it's almost like they're punching above their weight, but they're trying to punch something that is just way beyond what anyone should be playing for video games right now. It doesn't hit. It doesn't hit the mark whatsoever. Yeah, right? There's a good idea. All right, now we got to put our video game playing on pause. What an amazingly crazy night. The rabbit hole of video games and how far we can go is going to go deeper and deeper in Japan, and we're never going to leave. We're going to be playing so many video games. So much to look forward to, though, as we continue playing everything that was released at sometime in November 1982. Be sure to be here next time on Chronologically Gaming, where we're driving an alien taxi, visiting an asteroid belt where the asteroids do not move, and preparing for the holiday season by reading Atari Age. That's it for today, and like I always say, if you think to yourself, this guy's going to skip all the bad games, think again. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.